All right, so we're kicking off another Zoom video edition of the Georgia Foodcast, coming at you almost live-ish, to catch up with our good friends in the Georgia food fight arena, Wholesome Wave, Georgia. So we've got Will Sellers. Yeah, thank you guys so much. So we've got Will Sellers here as Executive Director. We've got Sarah Moore with us, who's the Programs Manager, and we've got Emme Raus, who is the Communications and Development Coordinator. So, y'all open it up. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what Wholesome Wave Georgia is all about. I want to specifically have us talk about some of y'all's work related to the pandemic. Obviously, Sure. It's been a crisis on many fronts, food access being a big one. So. But yeah, let's start with who you are.
Well, first of all, Mary Elizabeth, again, thank you so much for having us. We're big fans of the work that y'all do at Georgia Organics. I think one of the things that's really unique about several of the organizations in this space, and we share that with Georgia Organics, is that much like you all who do work across the state of Georgia, we work across the state of Georgia as well. Yeah. So outside of Metro Atlanta, our key markets are going to be Macon, Warner Robins, down near below the Nat line for those of us who are native Georgians, and then also Savannah, which has just phenomenal impact that they're doing. Jeb Bush and his team are doing amazing work down there. We got started over 10 years ago, Mary Elizabeth, to really solve the problem of folks who receive what we used to call food stamps, that we now call SNAP benefits. How could they access this robust and vibrant community of farmers markets? We were started in 2009 with a small group of citizens, and we started with a handful of markets. And now today, just because of growth from community leaders and people who understand how important good food is, how important locally grown food is, especially our organic produce that the state of Georgia continues to just hit new records in year after year, we have 68 markets around the state. And some of those markets are in places like Brunswick, Statesboro, Alma, Albany, Georgia, of course here in Metro Atlanta, and we have a beautiful partnership with our friends at Community Farmers Markets. But our job, what we wake up every day focused on, is how do we make sure that our neighbors who are receiving those SNAP benefits, what we used to call food stamps, have the ability to swipe that EBT card, go to a farmer's market, and we double that purchasing power. So I'll talk about that for a moment. What we do is when Will swipes his EBT card for $10, Wholesome Wave Georgia then gives Will another $10 to be used to buy fresh, locally grown produce. We do that per visit, up to $50 per visit. So if Will swipes his EBT card and the EBT card is the means by which the SNAP benefits are distributed. If Will swipes his EBT card for $50, then we give Will another $50. So now Will has $100 of purchase to be used to purchase fresh, locally grown produce, which can include organic produce as well, at 68 markets and farm stands across the state of Georgia. We're super proud to do this work. This work has become more relevant during the global pandemic, and we've had some key learnings. And I'm really proud to be joined today by Sarah on our team and also Emme, who are critical to making all this good work happen.
Yeah, I mean, just to kick it off, I want to thank y'all so much for the work you've done over the decade. And then, of course, this year. I mean, you know, and the thing to consider there, too, is not only are these folks getting incredible food, nutritionally dense food, but that money is benefiting the farmers in our state too.
Absolutely.
So it's really just such a perfect, you know, I think a lot about the perfect like food ecosystem, an economic food ecosystem, and y'all have such a vital role in that. So.
Well, Mary Elizabeth, that's a really good point. And maybe Emme sent you my talking points beforehand because that's a key point. I missed it. So since we were founded in 2009, we've been able to put $3.2 million back into the wallets and pocketbooks of our small independent farmers. And you're right, it is an ecosystem. So that money stays in community, that money's recycled at farms, recycled at farm stands, and folks can literally see that dollar come back around when they go to the market the next week. One of the things that's really unique about our program, and this is unique nationally, is that when Will swipes his EBT card, say at the Grant Park Farmers Market or Forsyth Farmers Market down in Savannah, or on a Better Way Grocers, our new partner down in Albany, Georgia, down in my part of the state where I'm from. Well, I can come back next week. I can come back the week after that. So there is no sunset. And that's how at Wholesome Wave Georgia, through our Georgia Fresh for Less program, and then also more recently through our Georgia Food for Health program, which Sarah's redefining, we've been able to put that money back into our local economies to build that ecosystem that you just talked about.
That's fantastic. Well, yeah, I want to kick it over to Sarah. Tell us a little bit about the specifics of some of these programs. And then let's get into what y'all have been up to during the pandemic. So yeah.
Sure. Like I'm happy to talk a little bit more about the SNAP Connection program specifically, or are we talking all the programs, or did you want me to start with Fresh for Less? I know Will hit up most of the points already.
Yeah. Let's do maybe a quick overview of the programs and then dive into the specifics. Yeah.
Sure. So Will already, mentioned a few highlights of the Fresh for Less program where, you don't have to sign up or, do anything ahead of time to participate in this program. Really, it's just about people that already have SNAP benefits can find a partner market through our website. We've got a great map that shows all of our 6 partners across the state. So, find a market that's convenient to you. Just have to visit the market with your EBT card. We'll match, whatever amount you'd like swiped off your card up to $50 per visit for free money for fruits and vegetables, pretty much. So our other main program, Georgia Food for Health, is really an intervention program that recruits participants that are both food insecure and living with a diet-related chronic disease. And we match them with they work with their current providers, registered dietitians. They take several months of culinary classes, nutrition education classes, as well as the whole time they're receiving prescriptions for fruits and vegetables, which are really just vouchers that they take to our partner markets and redeem for fruits and vegetables that they're then learning how to cook with them, learning why these fruits and vegetables are most nutritious for them and helping them combat their diet-related disease, and with the aim of helping them better control their weight or A1C or blood pressure. So we've been able to see some great outcomes through that program, and of course it does look a little bit different this year as we're pretty much taking the whole program remote, kind of limiting the in-person factors there, but still really excited. We're getting to have this program at all this year and working with our partners and making this a really more resilient program, so we can keep it going even in times like this. So, to round it out, a lot of what I know we'll be talking about today, our SNAP program. We recently kind of rebranded or kind of gave it its own program name, Georgia SNAP Connection. Previously it was just, one of the services we offered, but we have been a community partner of the Department of Children and Family Services in Georgia since 2014. So, we've been able to, assist our neighbors with their EBT benefits, see if they're eligible for SNAP, help them apply for SNAP. We are able to help them with the renewal process anytime they need to make information changes. So almost anything you could do at a DFACS office, we can help with. Of course, there's still, official things that have to be taken care of on the caseworker side, but we're able to really help facilitate a lot of those processes and make them happen a lot faster than they might normally take. And we do have some good connections and can help, people just get connected with a caseworker in their office is often the most challenging part of the process. So, we've definitely seen a big increase in need as far as the calls we receive from the beginning of the pandemic, and kind of just seen it plateau after a while, but, seeing such a big need in the beginning really led us to focus on, who are the neighbors that really need our help the most right now. So we were able to, launch this initiative that really focused on our friends in the hospitality industry, people that were, newly out of work because of the pandemic. A lot of, these people had never had to think about SNAP benefits before or ever been put in situations. So we were getting tons of calls, from our neighbors that had just, had lots of questions. Where do I start? Am I eligible? Where do I even find the applications? So, just being able to answer questions for people was, people are so appreciative, and we're happy to be here and help connect them to that service. And luckily have been able to offer most of the things that we could do in person, we can still do over the phone. So a lot of those allowances were made. We don't have to sit down with people in person anymore to officially help them with their cases. So yeah, it's been challenging, but it's been, rewarding. As Will said, we're almost at our goal for this year, which was to assist 500 households by the end of the year. And, here we are in July. And we just, hit over 450 households assisted. So we're, well on our way, and probably just gonna increase our goal and hoping that we can assist as many households as possible.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned something too that I want to speak to, is y'all have been a part of the Georgia Organics and specifically our farm to restaurant programs, Food Fight Georgia program. And I think that's been such an awesome, I think one of the kind of silver linings of navigating the pandemic is how much collaboration and partnership has really been essential and has been so beneficial for folks that need it, particularly in our restaurant hospitality industry. So just a quick backgrounder on Food Fight Georgia. That came about, it was kind of the brainchild of Root Baking Company, and Jamestown Charitable Foundation was one of our kind of founding partners in that. And
they're such good partners.
I know. Yeah. Brilliant people. So, we came together and raised funds so that we could continue purchasing from farmers whose sales had really dropped off from restaurants being closed, while also providing weekly farm fresh boxes, kind of a CSA style, but we're calling them weekly farm boxes, to out-of-work restaurant workers. And so, like you were just saying, Sarah, this is a whole, you have this new batch of people who are navigating the benefits system. So tell me about, Food Fight Georgia from y'all's experience and kind of how y'all have chipped in on that. It's been really fantastic.
Yeah, I'll take that first, and Sarah can obviously jump in as needed. So for us, we, like many local food organizations, depend heavily on our small independent restaurants, not only for support, but then also just kind of raising awareness from their patrons. So when the pandemic happened back in March, to Sarah's point, we saw an opportunity to really link with organizations. Some we have a long history with, like Georgia Organics, but others that, we're just really starting to know. So Food Fight Georgia for us was a natural fit to provide information on what Sarah said. We're all working from home now. And one of the great policy changes that came about because of the pandemic is moving away from the in-person requirement, Mary Elizabeth, now being able to assist folks remotely. So whether you're in your kitchen, in your garage, in your living room, the Wholesome Wave Georgia team has the ability to help you. And what Sarah and her team have been doing a super job of is, number one, coming up with a really cool infographic, which we provided through Amber's support. So shout out to Amber Stewart over at Organics for just kind of helping us to get as many of those into those great boxes as possible, with a really cool graphic that Emme designed that's engaging. So we know from our work with Food Fight Georgia, Georgians, and to Sarah's point, who don't have a lot of experience applying for benefits because this happened through no fault of their own, that they were displaced. So we created a number, and that number is 678-631-7101. It's not a phone tree. It's not answered by a machine. Someone like Sarah or someone on her team will answer that number and give you guidance right away. And again, Americans do not like asking for help, Mary Elizabeth. That's something we've learned from doing this work in 2009 and definitely expanded into 2014. So we view our work as being a helping hand, partnering with outstanding organizations who can give that can give us a lot of credibility, like Georgia Organics, because historically we've been kind of that behind the scene organization, doubling
Sure.
benefits, not really out in the community to the extent that a lot of our brother and sister organizations have. So
Yeah,
for
sure.
our opportunity, it really came to being a good partner. And so we wanted to
Mhm.
partner with Georgia Organics. We partnered with the Georgia Hotel and Lodging Associations because guess what? Hotels have restaurants too. And then
Yeah.
we also partner with the Georgia Restaurant Association to really move outside of our traditional circle to let
That's
all
great.
team members in Georgia know how powerful this work is. And Sarah can talk more about the day-to-day, but again,
Yeah.
our goal for the year was 500 cases.
Yeah.
We need to raise that goal up to 1,000 because
Yeah.
what we learned from just sharing the infographic is that one, people shared it with their friends, family members, folks who they knew were in need but may not have
Mhm.
known us, and that was really powerful just to kind of see that kind of response.
Yeah, well, and I'll be sure that when we share this episode, that we include that phone number and also that infographic too,
Great.
as well on a digital angle. So, let's dive into really kind of the state of need in Georgia during the pandemic.
Mhm.
I know I was catching up on a kind of a webinar with the food bank, and
Sure.
they were giving a number. I think it was around 1 million people just in the metro Atlanta
Yeah.
area that have become food insecure, or that previously were food insecure, and that number has increased almost 40 or 50% during the pandemic. So
Sure.
I know that we're nearing the end of July, that supplemental unemployment benefits are in flux right now. Talk to me about what y'all are seeing.
Yeah, I'll talk about the macro big picture, then Sarah can bring
Yeah.
it down with some, kind of day-to-day anecdotes. So we know that, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, longstanding disparities have been amplified.
Mhm.
So pre-pandemic, 11% of African-American households were food insecure.
Mhm.
During the pandemic, that number spiked up to about 15.5%. And that's
Yeah.
information that's available from the AJC's analysis from US Census data. Now, when we
Yeah.
look at our Hispanic neighbors, that number then goes north of 20%, up to 22% of Hispanic families are food insecure.
Wow.
So we know from our work that the pandemic has just exposed chasms, rifts that
Yeah.
we've been putting a Band-Aid on for a long time. We
Yeah.
also know that if you have been fortunate enough in this economy to enjoy the benefits of a stable, secure job, the
Mhm.
pandemic has changed and affected every industry, every community, every part of our state. So
Yeah.
professionals have called us saying, I've never been in this position before. I've never had to ask for help in my life.
Mhm.
I don't know what to do. And so for us, it's really being a neighbor and assisting Georgians in need. And also, this is a really important fact, and Sarah can talk more about this. We provide this service free of charge to Georgians and community partners. So
Yeah.
this is something that is a part of our mission, it's a part of our DNA, and we seek to do it really well. So I'm going to pause and let Sarah talk about how we do this work, and we're really a helping hand to our neighbors in need.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll just talk a little bit about what it looks like every day, how we, handle the requests for assistance. So, like Will said, he calls it my team. It's, I have 2 people that help me with the SNAP applications and questions, but they're a great team. It's like I have a team of 50. So we were able to develop kind of a widget in our Salesforce that we use as our database to really help delegate calls. So like Will said, the number that we give out, it's my work cell phone. It does go to a number or to a phone where I can usually answer it, but I unfortunately can't answer every single call when it comes in. But people leave messages. I'm then able to quickly delegate out to my team and have everyone followed up with in a timely manner. We're confident that we can connect with everyone who has reached out to us for assistance within 24 hours. Business days, like not over the weekend, of course. We do get lots of calls over the weekend. But we've at the beginning, you know, we were seeing, you know, 10 to 15 calls a day, which is a lot for us, especially, you know, thinking every application or, you know, person we talk to could take up to a half an hour to an hour at a time. So, you know, we're seeing a lot, you know, fewer calls these days, but still at a pretty, you know, solid 5 to 7 per day. A lot, you know, are just kind of easy questions. You know, what's going on with renewals? A lot, you know, lots of questions now as it relates to the P-EBT benefits that are going to be rolling out soon. So yeah, you know, we're pretty confident, you know, feel good about being able to you know, connect with everyone who reaches out to us for assistance and, you know, get them to the right place if we can't exactly answer their question, but, you know, have a pretty good track record so far.
Wow. I want to just pause and acknowledge y'all for developing the system, and I'm sure there's a massive amount of teamwork and coordination that happens every day, probably every hour and every minute for y'all. So thank you. I just want to acknowledge that.
Thank you very much. Our pleasure.
Well, yeah, let's dive into P-EBT, you know, what the SNAP program looks like during the pandemic. I believe there's a deadline coming up for applications for, I want to hear from the experts. Y'all give us the 411 on this.
She can walk you through, and the situation is fluid, it's changing. Yeah. Our government is trying to respond, but Sarah can tell you the hottest and best information that we have.
Great.
Well, I do first just want to make the distinction between pandemic SNAP benefits, P-SNAP, and P-EBT, which, you know, sound like the exact same thing, but really they're, you know, the pandemic SNAP benefits, you know, have been these kind of extra benefits that have been allowed to SNAP recipients that already got SNAP. They were allowed to get the maximum amount of benefits for their household size for these last few months, or at least through July as of now, which, as far as I understand, can continue as long as there's a state of emergency kind of in effect due to the virus. So, you know, if that ends, then they won't be able to continue that extra assistance that's been available, that pandemic SNAP benefit. But slightly differently is this P-EBT program that is specifically to kind of serve as a supplement for kids and their families who would normally get free or reduced meals in school. So, you know, this is in the works, you know, or has been in the works for a while, with kind of just this mid-July to end July release date out there. So there's still no hard date for that, but, you know, as of a webinar I was a part of last week, it's, you know, hopeful that it will be live this week. The portal website is already active. If you go to it now, it just kind of says, you know, coming soon. So this will be a separate portal. So to start, you know, anyone that already gets SNAP benefits, if you already have an EBT card, you're already getting SNAP benefits. If you have kids in school that would normally get free or reduced lunch, these benefits will be automatically loaded to these families. So, you know, if you already get SNAP benefits, you don't have to put in a separate application for your kids. If you don't already get SNAP benefits, one, you know, I encourage you to make sure you're not eligible, because you might in fact be eligible. So I would encourage everyone to, you know, put in an application for SNAP if you're not sure if you're eligible or not.
That's a great point,
But, you know, if you know you're not eligible, or if you don't want to apply for SNAP, you can put in an application just for these pandemic EBT benefits for your kids. So it will be a separate portal. There will be a link to the page on the normal Georgia Gateway website. It's even there now, and kind of this brown bar across the front of the screen. So in this portal, you know, really you just need the kids' information. You'll use the student testing ID, which I guess every student is assigned, and you could find that on the Department of Education student portal website, I'm told. If you're not sure about that number, you can list up to 8 kids that are, you know, in your household on one application. So you're not limited to applying for only 8 kids, but only 8 kids at a time. And all of these benefits will be issued on a separate EBT card that will function just like a SNAP benefits card, but we're told at least that it will look slightly different. So you would be able to tell the difference. But all the benefits will be loaded at one time, you know, for all the children in your household that are eligible. And that eligibility, I think, is as of March 2020, if your child was eligible for free or reduced lunch, they would be eligible to get this $256 and some change per child benefit. So those are most of the highlights there. There is, we're told, going to be kind of a 60-day time limit on, as soon as the portal goes live, there will be 60 days out where, that is a time limit where you have to apply for these benefits. So should be, expire before the end of September, I guess. So we don't know the date exactly, but we know that it will not go past September 30th or into the new fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah. What questions do you have so far? I feel like I hit most of the highlights.
That was certainly very helpful. And as with anything here, we'll make sure that in our notes we're really specific. Love to get some of those links from you
Sure.
and kind of summarize some of those steps. I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about how y'all's relationship with DFACS has been a part of this, because I know this is where this is kind of stemming from, the P-EBT. And then I had another question that will come back to me in a minute, but let's start there. Let's start with kind of y'all's relationship with DFACS.
It's amazing.
Relates to this. Yeah.
It's amazing. I was on the phone with our DFACS contact this morning, who has been a partner for us in this work. And because of Sarah and her team, small but mighty, they've really kind of created the conditions for us to really be able to share and talk about our work. One of the stats that we like to share is we know in Metro Atlanta alone, 1 in 4 families with children are food insecure. So when you think about, most of the state living in about 20 to 25 counties, to Sarah's point, that's a lot of families with children right now who don't know what's going to happen with school. It's been in the news a lot. Are concerned about how they'll take care of their children during this unprecedented time that we find ourselves in. And so DFACS for us is not only a financial partner because they help to fund this work through a pass-through grant from USDA, but they're also a partner who directs other organizations to us so that we can share our know-how and our knowledge. So in Wholesome, Georgia, what we've become really strong in is expert at storytelling. So we developed, and Emme led this, and I'm super proud of it. So you've got to give me more than a minute to talk about it. What we call our Georgia snapshots. And with snapshots, it is photos of Georgians that help really change the narrative and show that all Georgians have the ability, as Sarah said, to apply for SNAP benefits. And guess what? All Georgians receive SNAP benefits, right? It is not a narrative that is focused on one particular community in Georgia or one particular group. The stories on our snapshots reel show that there's so many of our neighbors, and that's why we use that term, neighbors, are receiving SNAP benefits. And so for us, working with DFACS is really important because this year we implemented a customer service survey to make sure that we're creating a welcoming environment, that we're presenting ourselves back in the days of meeting folks in person in the best way possible. And we held office hours with folks who were receiving SNAP at our office. They could come in. Sarah did an excellent job of creating a really welcoming space so that folks knew that if they needed help, they could come there. And our partner at DFACS helped us perfect that survey. So they are phenomenal to work with.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I just chatted y'all a little technical aside. We might have to hop off and hop on. I don't have a premium account, but we are hopping back on here. So, what I wanted to find out is how y'all's work, specifically around the P-EBT program and navigating pandemic-related benefits, is tying in with your ongoing work with farmers markets and programs like Georgia Fresh for Less. So tell me about that, and also just any observations. I think it's been so interesting to speak to the various representatives and leaders from farmers markets or farmers from around our state, things like that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, let me let Sarah kind of open up that conversation, and I'll tack on the back end and just add, whatever I think. I know Sarah's going to just knock it out of the park. So.
This is one time I was like, I really think Elisa is the expert in this, and for Fresh for Less specifically, and working with the markets, but I can speak to it as well. So, a lot of of course, our partners were affected. A lot of them had to open late, delay their opening. We have seen, our markets that were able to open kind of on time, or our year-round markets, we have maybe seen them do a little bit better. Could just be, they were already rolling by the time all this is going on. They were able to implement some changes, safety changes. It's what a huge task it has been for, all of our markets to really, understand the steps they need to take to keep their vendors and the customers safe. And they've all, been really quick to, one, like rustle out some funds to be able to purchase, sanitizer or hand washing stations and more signage for the market. So, making all that happen in a really fast time has been an achievement on its own. And we've, been really kind of pleasantly surprised to see how well our Fresh for Less partners have been doing as far as market sales. Some even, showing some kind of record EBT use numbers, helped by some other initiatives that we've started, like Plant to Plate, really being able to promote, not a lot of people know that you can use SNAP benefits to purchase food producing plants and seed, start seeds. So, being able to bring new customers through that program to our partners like Illuma Farm, they had a record day in EBT sales that day.
That is so cool.
We're able to, get people to the farm for the first time and, hopefully create some, some recurring customers with them, knowing that they have a place where they can purchase, fresh food in their neighborhood. So, we've seen lots of great things there. Lots of our markets doing well, want people to know that, these P-EBT benefits, while they're not SNAP benefits, they will, pretty much they can be used to buy SNAP eligible food, just like SNAP benefits, use the same EBT machine to process those. So we'll be able to match those benefits just like SNAP benefits at our partner farmers markets and with our partners. So, want to encourage anyone, getting those benefits, maybe for the first time to visit one of our partner farmers markets and get those benefits doubled, really stretch that dollar and get the most bang and for, a great value of fresh, locally grown food and produce to bring home to your family.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'd assume, and this is probably an M question, but that list of partner farmers markets is on y'all's site, on y'all's website and accessible that way? Great. Yeah, I think I'm so glad you brought up the Plant to Plate program. I think that is just the coolest, not only is it like the gift that keeps on giving, but it's such I know I've had a little bit more time to kind of get my plants babied, cared for a little more, got some tomatoes going. So that's such an incredible way to get people even more engaged and in a healthy relationship with their food. So I think I saw y'all partner with Illuma and I think Atlanta Harvest
right down in Clayton.
Yeah, very
shout
cool.
out to Eliyahu, who's kind of definitely a darling. He's so good looking too. Of the local food movement. But that idea,
have so much good going on there.
Oh, they've got amazing.
And their pop-up Sunday afternoon cookouts. Like, oh my God.
Yes. And Asa, also his father, from the work that he does in Dublin. Again, that's one of the unique things that Georgia Organics and Wholesome Wave Georgia share, these statewide footprints. A little about Plant to Plate, just really quickly. First of all, we want to thank our partner, Foodwell Alliance, in this also. Again, our ability to kind of meet this tremendous, immense need is through partnerships. And Foodwell, their great storytelling capabilities, their ability to kind of bring a lot of good graphic design and photo elements to our work. They helped us to create at Mary Elizabeth a care guide for the plants. So we were able to double the SNAP benefits for starts, as Susan said. But Foodwell Alliance and Wholesome Wave Georgia combined our missions to provide folks with locally sourced compost, a garden shovel, and then also a grow bag, so that Will buys his start, puts it there in the grow bag with that amazing locally sourced compost, and you literally just kind of watch your food grow. So that was, again, the power of partnerships. The innovation around that came from one of our team members, Susan Desmond. and who has a phenomenal garden in her backyard. She should definitely be on the show next time.
Yeah.
Just talk about how she walks the walk, talks the talk. She has chickens. They just got some goats. I mean, her backyard is really just that oasis of local food. And we're really proud that Susan has the freedom and flexibility to contribute and help us to innovate during this uncertain time. So we just can't say enough good stuff about the work that she's doing.
Very cool. Yeah, I'd love to have Susan on here, and I just echo that shout out and gratitude for Foodwell Alliance. They're always up to good things, and during the pandemic has been a particular case of that. They've partnered with us on the Farmer Fund to help raise funds to get pandemic financial aid to farmers right now. So they're kind of killing it on all fronts, basically.
Oh, Kim and her team are knocking it out of the park. And shout out to Jeolu and Kate, Brittany, and everyone else on the team. The hand sanitizer. Brilliant. From Tito's. Shout out to Tito's as well. I thought I could drink it, but Sarah said no. The bottle fooled me.
Don't add to cocktails. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They were kind enough to get us some of that too. So I think that has been going around too. That sanitizer's been getting to a lot of folks. I know I personally drove it down to Porter from our team on our farmer services team. We transferred boxes to my car. I went down to Americas, delivered it off for some Albany folks. So it's this stuff that's happening, these webs that
community building. It's community building. So whether it's Georgia Food Oasis and the work you all are doing to build community, or as Sarah said, our 68 markets and farms around the state who are really kind of creating that welcoming space for our neighbors who can just kind of come in, enjoy not only the doubling the financial incentive, but also get to be in community. That's really important to us, and we're really proud to do that work.
Yeah. Well, y'all, I want to start rounding us out here. Is there anything that y'all want to speak to that you have coming up? I know I'd also love to know just like what are some of the good links that can check in on. Again, I'll post them in our show notes and whatnot. But
let's let Emme talk about that, because Emme is creating all of our content. She's our chief storytelling officer at Wholesome Wave, Georgia. And so let's let Emme just kind of tell you some of the content that's coming out and some of the things that are kind of in the hopper.
Yeah, and I know, just to kick it off with a compliment, the work of y'all's social media and kind of the up-to-date news that it is, up-to-date news resource that it is super helpful. I know I'm always checking in on that. So if you see Geo, liking everything, that's because I really like it. Good work.
I totally see Georgia Organics liking and sharing our stuff on Facebook in particular, and we super appreciate that. So let's see. So for more information on just the local food movement and what Wholesome Wave Georgia is up to, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We post updates on our 68 partner markets across the state, as well as what's going on with SNAP advocacy, and then some fun content here and there, some stories. And then for kind of more in-depth information on everything that's going on with us in the local food movement, you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter. It's called the Fresh Food Press, and we always have great updates in there. And then, I'm glad that you asked us about what's exciting that's coming up for us, because we are switching things up this year with our fall fundraising events. So Southern Chef's Potluck has been our go-to big event of the year, and this will be our 11th year doing it. But with the circumstances, we're switching it up and virtual this year.
Great.
So we're going to start releasing more information about Southern Chef's virtual potluck. I personally am pumped for it. It's going to be great, but the date for that is Sunday, October 11th, and just keep an eye out for more info.
That is so exciting. I know that's one of a host of food events that I have been mourning, being sad to miss. I think that's when I first met you, Em, was working with Chef Todd Richards. And so I'd always, tag along and enjoy the potluck and some of the other events that y'all did. but that's great to know. There's sort of the consolation prize, and something to look forward to this October is a virtual chef potluck. So great. We'll be sure to share that info too and get that out on our channels when those updates come through.
Yeah, y'all are really good about that, and you know, we look forward to the conference. I know that will probably take a different shape this year as we try to figure that out. But you've got my commitment here, commitment on the organization's behalf. We would love to be a sponsor in whatever form the conference takes. So please call us and let us know. It's such a great event. It's such a great community building event. It brings folks from all across the state, and it just creates that space where, again, folks can catch up, share knowledge, share information, and it's just one of the hallmarks of the year. I look forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. I throughout working in the food space, I think what's so enjoyable is when we come together, it's to enjoy good food and good times and, you know, a couple cocktails, but it's also partnerships are born and new projects are born and initiatives come out of that. So I know as a kind of communications, marketing, events person, that's been the challenge. And Em, I know this is what you're talking about here too, is like, how do we keep those relationships, that momentum, those personal connection points up when it's, you know, here, when it's Zoom. So, but I know that especially when you're talking about a relationship like Georgia Organics and Wholesome Way of Georgia, nothing to worry about here. We're
gonna
making
make it
work. We're chugging on. We will not be impeded. So
we won't be stopped.
Nope. Well, I echo on behalf of Georgia Organics our support and gratitude for y'all and everything that you're doing for Georgians, for farmers, for eaters, for everyone. So thank y'all so much. This is a vital space that you occupy. So I look forward to staying in touch with you guys.
Great.
Talk to some more folks from Wholesome Way. Would love to get with Susan and share some of her learnings and insights. And yeah, we'll be sure to share links, share some more information about P-EBT and the other initiatives that Wholesome Way of Georgia is continuing to champion. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having